Hello everybody, it's Tarun. Welcome to your 7th tutorial in the CSS for presentation course. In this tutorial, I'll start with text line adjustments. Okay, so without wasting time, let's start. The next batch of text properties has to do with the treatment of whole lines of text rather than the shapes of characters. They allow web authors to format web text with intents and extra space between lines and different horizontal alignment similar to the print. So now let's start with the first property, which is line height. The line height property defines the minimum distance from baseline to the baseline in text. So we saw it earlier as a part of shorthand font property. A baseline is the imaginary line upon which the bottoms of the characters sit. Line height in CSS is similar to leading in traditional typesetting. Although the line height is calculated from baseline to baseline, and most browsers split the extra space above and below the text, and thus entering it the overall line height. Okay, the line height property is set to specify a minimum distance, because if you put a tall image or large characters on a line, the height of that line will expand to accommodate it. So I'll just show you the values for the line height property. Okay, the values can be number, length, measurement, percentage, normal, or it can inherit. The default value is normal and it can be applied to all the elements. So the following examples which I am going to show you shows 3 different ways to make the line height twice the height of the font size. So I'll just show you the examples. Okay, so now let's see what happens in the browser. So now this is the default font size. So now you can see the line height has been increased to 2. So when a number is specified alone as shown in the first example, it acts as a scaling factor that is multiplied by the current font size to calculate the line height value. Line heights can also be specified in one of the CSS length units, but once again the relative EM unit is your best bet. EMs and percentage values are based on the current font size of the element. In the 3 examples, if the text size is 16 pixels, the calculated line height would be 32 pixels. Okay. So now let's see the next property, which is indents. The text indent property indents the first line of text by a specific amount. So I'll just show you the values first. The text indent property. Okay, the values can be length, measurement, percentage, or it can inherit. The default value is 0 and it is only applied to block level elements, table cells, and inline blocks. So you can specify a length measurement or a percentage value for text indent. Percentage values are calculated based on the width of the parent element. So here are a few examples which I'll just show you. Okay, so now let's see what happens in the browser. Just wait, I'll show them one by one only. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, so the paragraphs, just wait. Now you can see the paragraph has been indented by 2 EM value. So now let's see the next example. Okay, now the text will be indented by 25%. So you can see it here also. And now the last example. Okay, here it is instead of going to the right side, it has moved to the left side because I have specified minus 35 pixels. So if I change it to 35 pixels, so let's see what happens. So now you can see it has moved to the moved the way the normal indent moves. In the third example, as I told you, a negative value was specified, and that's just fine. And it will cause the first line of text to hang out to the left of the left text. Okay. The text indent property inherits, but it is worth noting that the calculated values are passed on to descendant elements. So if a div is set to 800 pixels with a wide width of 10% indent, a text indent of 80 pixels will be passed down and not the 10% value to element the div contains. Okay, so one design tip, if you are using the indent, if you use a hanging indent, be sure that there is also a left margin applied to the element. Otherwise, the hanging text may disappear off the left edge of the browser window. So now let's see the next property, which is horizontal alignment. You can align the text for web pages just as you would in a word processing or desktop publishing program with the text align property. So I'll just tell you first of all the properties of it. Okay, the values are left, right, center, justify and inherit, and by default it is left for languages that read left to right, and right for languages that read right to left, and it is applied to block level elements, table cells and inline blocks only, and it can inherit also. So this is a fairly straightforward property to use. The results of the text align values are shown in the following figure, which I'll just tell you. But before I just show you that, I just want to make a note. The CSS3 text module defines two new related properties, which is text align last for aligning the last line of the text, and text justify, which is for more fine-tuned control over how space is inserted in justified text, but they are well not supported in the browsers. And it is not sure when they will be supported. So I'll just show you the figure now. So this is the figure which I was telling you about. The text align left, it aligns the text on the left margin, as you can see here. Then text align right, it aligns the text to the right margin. Then text align center, it centers the text in the text block. And the last one is text align justify. It aligns the text on both the right and left margins. Okay, so this was all about the horizontal alignment. So now let's move forward to the next topic, which is underlines and other decorations. Okay, so if you want to put a line under, over or through text, you'd like to turn the underline of underlinks, then text decoration is the property for you. So now let's see the text decoration property. Okay. First of all, I'll just tell you the values for the text decoration property. The values are none, underline, overline, line through and blink. The default value is none and it can be applied to all elements, and inherits no, but since lines are drawn across child elements, they may look like they are decorated too. So the values for text decoration are intuitive, and I'll just show you in the figure. The text decoration underline, it underlines the element. The text decoration overline draws a line over the text. Then the text decoration line through draws a line through the text, as you can see here. And the last one is text decoration blink. It makes text flash off and on. Okay. The most popular use of text decoration property is turning of the underlines that appear automatically under linked text. As in the example I'll just show you. Okay, in this example the underlines in the links will be removed, but there are a few cautionary words to be said regarding the text decoration. First, if you get rid of underlines under links, be sure that there are other cues to compensate, such as color and weight. On the flip side, because underlines are such a strong visual cue to click here, underlining text that is not a link may be misleading and frustrating. Consider whether italics may be an acceptable alternative. Finally, there is no reason to make your text blink. Don't do it. Internet Explorer won't support it anymore. Okay. So moving forward to the next topic, changing capitalization. But I just want to note you one thing. The CSS3 text module includes enhancements to text decoration, including text decoration line, text decoration color, text decoration style, text decoration skip, and text underline position. But they are still experimental. Okay, so now let's see the changing capitalization. This property made it easier to see how headlines might look in all capital letters without needing to retype them. CSS includes this feature as well with the text transform property. So I'll just tell you first the values of this property. Okay, the values are none, capitalized, lowercase, uppercase, or inherit. The default value is none, and it can be applied to all elements, and it can also inherit. Okay. So I'll just show you one figure and I'll describe the text transform values there. The first one is text transform and the value none. So it will just show you as it is typed in the source. The next one is text transform capitalized. Okay, what it will do, it will capitalize the first letter of each word. Then the next one is text transform lowercase. It will make all the letters lowercase. And the last one is text transform uppercase. It will make all the letters uppercase. Okay, this was all in the text transform property. Now let's see the last two properties in this chapter, which is spacing out. The two properties are letter spacing and word spacing. So I'll just show you the values first of these two properties. Okay, the letter spacing property has values length, measurement, normal, and inherit, and the default is normal, and it can be applied to all elements, and it inherits yes. And the word spacing property has the same values, and default is also normal, and can be applied to all the elements, and it can also inherit. The letter spacing and word spacing properties do what they say: add space between the letters of the text or words of a line, respectively. The next figure, which I am going to show you the result of these rules examples applied to a simple paragraph here. So I'll just show you the figure here. So here I have used a letter spacing of 8 pixels in a paragraph. So what it will do, it will space each and every letter with 8 pixels of gap inside between them. And in the next thing, I have used word spacing of 1.5 em, which means that the regular space which is there, it will enhances to 150%, and then it will use as a word space between two words. So this was all in the spacing out property. So the next topic is text shadows. So let's start with the text shadows. Drop shadows that make text and graphic elements pop from the page have become all the rage over the last decade. Now there is a way to add a drop shadow to text using the CSS alone with the text shadow property. Text shadows are drawn behind the text but in front of the background and border if there is one. So text shadow properties are supported by all the current browsers except Internet Explorer. So I'll just show you the values for the text property. Sorry, not the text shadow property. Okay. So the values are horizontal offset, vertical offset, blur radius, color, or none. The default value is none, and it can be applied to all elements, and it inherits yes. Okay. So the value for the text shadow property is up to 3 measurements: a horizontal offset, a vertical offset, and blur radius, as I told you, and a color. So the next figure which I will show you is an example of minimal text shadow declaration. So here you can see for H1 I have changed the color to dark green, and text shadow is 0.2 em. Okay, and one thing that you have to give all the three measurements at one time. Okay, so this is the horizontal offset and this is the vertical offset, and the blur radius is optional, and I have given a color silver. Okay, so these are the shadows. If you use positive quantity, then the shadow will be below the original text, and if you use a negative quantity, then the shadow will be above the original. The first value is a horizontal offset that positions the shadow to the right of the text. Okay, but the negative value pulls to the left. The second measurement is a vertical offset that moves the shadow by the specific amount below, and the negative value moves the shadow up. The declaration ends with a color specification, which I did silver there, and if the color is omitted, the same color as the text will be used. So that should give you an idea how the first two measurements work. But that sharp shadow does not look very well shadowy, but what it needs is a blur radius measurement. So 0 is no blur. The blur gets softer with the higher values. So I'll just show you the example there. So here you can see I have added a 0.05 em value, which is the blur radius, and it is blurred. So if I increase the value of blur radius more, then the shadow is more blurred, and if I increase it to quite high value, then you can see it is just visible that there is something behind it, but you cannot read it precisely. You can even apply more than one shadow to a single text element. When more than one shadow is listed, the first one is listed in the list is rendered first, and subsequent shadows are layered behind it and in the defined order. And you can also make the text appear to glow by positioning a colored shadow directly behind the text. So in the next figure, which I am going to show you, it demonstrates a few techniques using text shadow. So these are the four type of shadows. The first one is multiple shadows. Okay, it can be done with the help of this. Okay, the next one is outer glow. So with the help of this syntax, you can make the outer of the text glow. Then this one is raised look. For a raised look, position a light shadow above and a dark shadow below the text using the tiny offsets like this. And this is for an embossed look. The light shadow goes below and the dark shadow goes above. So go have some fun with text shadows, but be careful not to overdo it. Not only can drop shadows make text difficult to read, but adding a shadow to everything can slow down the page performance. Okay, so which can be problematic for mobile browsers without much processing power. And in addition, be careful that your text does not require a shadow in order to be visible. Okay, so this was all about the text shadows. Now we move forward to the next topic in this unit, which is changing list bullets and numbers. So before we close out on this unit on text properties, I want to show you a few tricks that you can make to bulleted and numbered lists. As you know, browsers automatically insert bullets before unordered list items and numbers before items in ordered list, and for the most part the rendering of these markers is determined by the browser. However, CSS provides a few properties that allow authors to choose the type and position of the marker or turn them off entirely. So I'll just start with choosing a marker property. So we'll use the list style type property to select the type of marker that appears before each list item. So I'll just show you the values first for this property. Okay, the values are none, disk, circle, square, decimal, decimal leading 0, lower alpha, upper alpha, lower Latin, upper Latin, lower Roman, upper Roman, and lower Greek. Okay, and it can inherit also. The default is disk, and it is applied to UL, OL, and LI elements, and it inherits yes. So more often than not, developers use the list style type property with its value set to none to remove bullets or numbers altogether. So this is handy when using list markup as the foundation for a horizontal navigation menu or the entries in a web form. You can keep the semantics but get rid of the pesky markers. The disk, circle and square values generate bullet shaped shapes as just as browsers have been doing since the beginning. Unfortunately, there is no way to change the appearance, the size, color of generated bullets. So you are basically stuck with a browser's default rendering. Okay. So the remaining keywords specify various numbering and lettering styles for the use with ordered list. Okay. So I'll just show you one table where you'll understand what I'm saying. So here you can see the decimals are just simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Decimal leading 0 are 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Then lower alpha are A, B, C, D, E. Upper alpha are capital A, B, C, D, E. Lower Latin is A, B, C, D, E. Okay, which is same as lower alpha. Upper Latin is same as upper alpha. The lower Roman is this, and upper Roman will be capital of this. I have just made an error here in the typing. And the lower Greek is alpha, beta, gamma, delta, etc. Okay. So now let's move to the next topic, which is marker position. By default, the marker hangs outside the content arena for the list item, displaying as a hanging intent. The list style position property allows you to pull the bullet inside the content area, so it runs into the list content. So I'll just show you the values of this property first. So the values are inside, outside, and inherit. The default value is outside, and it is applied to lists only, which is UL, OL, and LI elements. So I'll just show you one figure here to specify it. Okay, so I first of all applied a background color to the list items in the figure which I have shown to reveal the boundaries of their content area box. So you can see that when the position is set to outside, which is the left one here, the markers fall outside the content area, and when it is set to inside, the content area box extends to the include the marker. Okay, so this was all in the marker position. Now let's move forward to the last topic in this unit, which is making your own bullets. You can also use your own image as a bullet using the list style image property. So before showing the example, I'll first tell you the values for this property. The values are URL, none or inherit, and the default value is none, and it is only applied to list elements, and it can inherit also, yes. As you can see here, I have used the image for the list. So this has been done with the help of this code, which is I have inserted the image with the help of URL, which is images happy.gif, and for the problem, if anything happens to the loading of image, I have set the style type to circle and style type position to outside. So this was all from my side in this tutorial and in this unit. In the next tutorial, I'll start with the next unit, which is colors and backgrounds. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.